Queen Rania of Jordan has been speaking out about the refugee crisis in Europe. It is not a new crisis to her country. Over the past 5 years, refugees have come to make up 20% of Jordan's population. I sat down with her this week when she and her husband, King Abdullah, were here for the UN General Assembly. Your Majesty, thank you very much. Been looking forward to spending this time here with you.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Robin.
The one issue that has finally made it here to American shores, the refugee crisis. And this is something that you and your country, you have been dealing with, taking in the refugees for the last 5 years, like 600,000 that your country has taken in.
Absolutely. You know, this is the Syrian refugee crisis is a true humanitarian catastrophe. I think people don't realize the magnitude of the numbers. 250,000 Syrians have lost their lives as a result of this conflict. Half of the population of Syria have left their homes. 7 million of them are internally displaced and 4 million have become refugees. And I often hear people saying, well, why aren't the countries in the region doing more? We are doing quite a lot. And this, you know, Jordan is a small country that's quite resource poor. So it's really been a major issue for us.
Puts a strain on the whole economy and everything.
It puts a huge strain. We do need assistance from the international community.
When you talk about the numbers, President Obama just said that we, the United States, will accept 10,000. Is that enough?
It isn't, though, for the United States or for Europe alone to shoulder the burden. I think we all have to work together to try to find a cohesive and comprehensive and a unified approach to this.
Do you think part of the problem here in this country and elsewhere, a not true understanding? When you say refugees, and we've done stories, and when you talk to these people, they're like everybody else.
Yes.
I mean, they had jobs, they were providing for their family, and now they're being misplaced. Are there misconceptions that we have to get a better understanding?
Yeah, I think the first thing we need to do is really put ourselves in their shoes. These people are not leaving by choice, and that's the difference between migrants and refugees. You know, migrants choose to go to another country because they want a better job or they want education, but refugees are running for their lives. When I look at a country like the United States, it baffles me that people might not understand it, because this is a country where immigrants have done so much. And can you imagine what the United States would have been like without the contribution the valuable contribution of so many immigrants?
I don't know why we look at it, Your Majesty, so differently now.
You know, I think it might have something to do with the fact that these refugees are Arabs and Muslims, and there's been a stereotype now that's been festering for so many years because the extremists have really dominated the agenda and have, I think, caused a lot of fear and mistrust and intolerance towards Arabs and Muslims.
Religious extremism, has it gotten worse? And is there more that moderate Muslims can do in helping in this fight to end the war and to end what ISIS is doing?
The truth is that, you know, the groups such as ISIS, or we refer to them as Daesh, we don't like to use ISIS because it says Islamic State, and we don't think there's anything Islamic about those people. They are building and broadcasting a brand of global terror, implicating Islam, Muslims, and Arabs.
And we saw a part of this, and I know you recently met with him, and he was, we interviewed him on our program, the young man from Texas, Ahmed Mohammed.
Yes.
The outpouring from people who stood up for him and said, no, this is unacceptable. How does his story help and hurt?
Well, you know, I think it kind of woke us all up to the fact that some of these stereotypes can seep into our subconscious without us knowing and make us make grave misjudgments of people, sometimes causing a great deal of unfairness and injustice.
And finally, what do you want to say to this big, wonderful, beautiful global community that we all share?
You know, when people look at some of these crises that we see, like the refugees, and they ask, well, what can we do? Empathy, it begins with empathy, but then you have to act. And acting doesn't just mean you just click like and move on to the next post, because you know, you assume that somebody else will do something about it. You are that somebody else. You've got to act on your values, because if you don't, they just slip away, they start to erode, and that wouldn't be a good thing for any of us. So I think my message would be, you know, remember what matters, and I think the Pope really reminded us in the last few days, and act on it.
Always a pleasure to spend time with Queen Rania. Always an enlightening conversation when she's here.